Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. The turning point of consciousness and center of the being. Each one of you know driving. You all drive. But probably you may not have been a keen observer. There are two gears, basically. Forward gear, it may be 1, 2 or overdrive depending on the vehicle, the reverse gear and the parking. Parking is not a gear. So when you are driving, the vehicle is starting to drive, the vehicle is in parking mode. From there, depending on the situation, you move the gear to the reverse gear or the forward gear. Sometimes it happens when you are moving your gear lever from parking to reverse gear, it does not fall into that. It is somewhere in between, neither parking nor the reverse. And if you mash the accelerator, there is a special kind of sound. Something like this. This is a state of turning point. If I use the terminology, turning point of consciousness in vehicle movement. Same way, in human beings, there are turning points in consciousness. You go to the operation table for an operation, anesthesia is given, you are waking. Your consciousness is waking. Anesthesia is given, you are asked to count 1, you can say it very clearly, 1, 2, slightly staggering, then 3. 3 is a little prolonged. But beyond this, when you say, you cannot say 4. So there are 3 stages: the waking consciousness, the dreaming, sleeping, and the 4th stage is known as Turiya. Gurdjieff's disciple Ouspensky talked about the 4th dimension. So consciousness moves into these are known as the turning points in consciousness. You are lying down on the bed with an intention to go to sleep. Your head is on the pillow. You are completely waking. Sleep has not come in. Slowly and slowly sleep is coming. So you are neither asleep nor waking. You are in between. You are neither in the parking gear nor in the reverse gear, or If you are moving from reverse to the forward, you are neither in the reverse gear nor in the forward gear, but in between you get stuck somewhere. That is, it is not neutral gear, because in the vehicle there is no neutral gear. There is parking mode, reverse mode, drive mode. So it can be in some vehicles 1 or 2, and then in certain SUVs it has overdrive also. In case of consciousness, these are known as turning points. When you are moving from one gear to the another and you have not completely changed the gear, that is known as neutral gear. At that time, you are closest to your being, closest to your center. The purpose of meditation is to become aware of that moment when you are in neutral gear. You are neither waking nor sleeping if you are doing that. If you are in something else, so accordingly you can choose. You are the same way when you are doing the walking. You have to walk, you have to move the 2 feet. The first feet is about to move, but it has not moved. You are raising the hands. The process is there. There are many temporary pauses when it reaches. Before it reaches from this position to this position, there is a neutral gear. This is very precise and delicate. That's why meditation is a very precise, not mechanical, but mathematically precise. It is not philosophical, it is purely mathematical. In mathematics, there is no philosophy. You are simply very methodological, very precise. 1 plus 2 is 3. Not 2.99999. Can it be? No, it is not. It is, although when it is written 2.999, it is considered for the calculation purposes as 3. It is not. Consciousness is very precise and mathematical. So there are certain points or moments in your consciousness. These are known as turning points or the neutral points. At these turning points, you are very close to your center than at other times. When you are waking, you are not. But when you are moving from waking consciousness to sleep consciousness, this precise moment comes, whether you are aware of it or not, but it does. But the process of meditation says be aware of all such moments. You change gears, and whenever you change a gear, you pass through a point of neutral gear. That neutral gear is nearer. So before you go to sleep, this moment comes. Then another time comes in when you are waking in the morning. When you are waking in the morning, you are neither asleep nor awake fully. You are in between. Each one of you has experienced that. Someone wakes you up your voice is changing, getting up. So when the sleep is going, vanishing, and you are feeling awake, but you are not awake, just at the midpoint, you are in the neutral gear. That is why the prayers are done at a certain times. There is the morning, it is known as Sandhya Kal. Sandhya actually means evening, but Sandhya Kal means the point of neutral gear, when consciousness is neither this nor that, instead in between. In the morning, this moment comes before the last quarter of the night is coming to an end and dawn is about to appear. That is the time when Muslims offer the Fajr namaz, salat. And in the evening, again, when the day is coming to an end, the night has not fallen, that time a prayer is done. So we choose a fixed time, whereas it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be in harmony with consciousness. The time changes in winter. There is a different time when the consciousness reaches the neutral gear in the evening, when the day is ending. Normally the winter day in the winter is shorter than the nights, and it is said 25th of December, the night is the longest, is almost 22 hours, and the day is of 10 hours. And on 22nd of June, every year the day is longest and night is shortest. That's why in India, Christmas is called as Bada Din, means bigger day, but it is the longer night. So in winter the time is changed, summer is different, but we have a fixed time for prayers, that at a particular time, 4:30, the Fajr namaz has to be offered. But it was mentioned in that way because the human beings are not aware of this point, this moment of turning point in consciousness, turning point in time. So for general public it is, but those who are aware or on the path, they need to choose the hour of their prayer according to the changing of the gears, when consciousness has changed the gear. That neutral gear is nearer. In the morning it happens, in the evening it happens. So you are given so many opportunities. You can create these moments as you traverse through the day's work. I can give you the examples from your own field of operation. You are cooking. At what point in time the oil is in the pot, it is heating, but it is not ready as yet. There comes a moment when it is not ready and it is ready in between. Water is boiling, you are making tea, but you are having the phone in the hand and the tea is making, or you are watching something, or you are answering something. That moment when water has not completely boiled, it is about to boil, and when it is boiled, that is the moment but we allow the water to boil for a few moments. But according to the Chinese system, it is said the water boils at 195, between 95 and 100, but it is a very precise moment depending on the water, the quality of the water and the temperature and pressure. It is known as water boils at 100 degrees Celsius if the temperature and pressure remains the same. The boiling point of the water changes when you go on the mountain on a height, or you are go below the certain height. So we use a phrase called ceteris paribus, other things remaining the same. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So Chinese, they say, when the water is about to boil, that's the time you have to switch off the boiling water and then not allow it to decoct as it is done in Indian subcontinent. The Indians are making tea, they are boiling it, making it a decoction. And in Iranian way, they boil the tea first, decoct it, so it gets stronger. The tea releases the tea leaf releases its strength more, and then they pour it and put it into the tandoor, the clay oven, for it to get boiled again, and some of that overflows in the high flame, like how Chinese burners are working at 125 to 150,000 BTU, British thermal unit, the unit to measure the heat. And then some overflows, so it gets a smoke flavor. That is called Iranian tea. And in India, tea is said that it keeps you awake. That is how it began, and there is a particular story how the tea leaves came, because its origin is said to be in China. When Bodhidharma went to China in 6th century AD, and after encountering the emperor Wu, who did not like apparently the ways and means of Bodhidharma, who when reached at the border of China and India, he had one shoe in his foot, the next on his head. This embarrassed. A great master is coming, and look at his appearances, the way he is coming. So he went on the mountain place where he remained there for a number of years. So he used to meditate, but the sleep will come, so he will pull out his eyebrows and throw it. Each time when the sleep is coming, he will pull out the eyebrow and throw it, and they grew up, and it is said that became the tea leaf. That is how the story goes on about the tea leaf. But the tea leaf keeps it when you are doing the work in the night, and so you take coffee or tea, it keeps you awake. It changes your blood pressure movement and you remain awake. So you have to be aware while doing your work. I said when you are making tea, every moment is a precise moment of living meditatively. You are making love. One moment you are in the act of sex. Your focus is on orgasm. One moment it is not there. You are aware of this. Next moment it happens, you are aware of this. But in between a moment when you are neither aroused nor it has released, are you aware of that? Tantra focuses on That precise moment, if you become aware, that is the moment when consciousness changes its gears. I can keep on telling the examples. So when I look at the broad cross-section of the people who are apparently attending to these sessions, knowing their profession, I give examples from that. Same thing when you are adding the spice blend, the seasonings and the spices together, you have to allow it to reach to the point when the oil begins to ooze of it. But at that time you have to slow down the heat, because if you miss that point, what it is happening in that moment when the oil is beginning to ooze, come onto the surface, the water moisture has evaporated completely. With the water moisture completely evaporated, if you continue to allow it to remain on the high flame, it sticks to the surface, it burns. So you have to be very precisely aware when it is changing gear. So when I say that cooking meditatively, it is not a theory, it is a practical experience, totally practical and very systematic and very aware. Every moment I am speaking, a word is spoken, next word is forming in a continuation, but before that comes out and before the first word has finished releasing its waves, a new one is about to come, there is a pause. If you become aware, that's why when you go into the music, the master says, sound, no sound. So in between the gaps between two sounds, that's where the real music is. A wave comes, dissolves, new wave has not come in, there is a pause. In Indian music, it is called the space between the two notes is known as khali. When you are doing the teen tal, 1, 2, 3, in between there is a gap, and that is known as khali, means empty. But we do it mechanically, but we are not aware of this precise moment. Meditation is being aware of these precise moments. Tantra is not merely engaging in the act of sex, but being aware of these precise moments, when moments of emptiness. Just at the midpoint, you are in the neutral gear, but this is so precise that each time when it happens, we miss it. So when a master or he consciously creates, my message is not in the words, but in the gaps that these words create. If you become aware of it, you will enter into a different state of awareness. Difference between consciousness and awareness. Consciousness moves into different stages, and you can be aware of this state or the next state. Consciousness is constantly changing its gears, but awareness is fixed. Awareness during the waking state is different, during sleeping is different, during the fourth dimension is different. So although they are used as synonyms, but they are not. Awareness and consciousness. Consciousness is a process. Awareness is a state. you can precisely understand the process and the state. When somebody says he is an awakened one, he said it does not say that he is conscious. You are conscious in a moment, but awareness is a state that continuously remains. The surface of the lake is tranquil. There are no waves, no movement, no upheavals, just as a tranquility. No circumstance and situation creates any upheaval or disturbance. That state is known as awakened. That's why the enlightenment or awakened one, when we say he is aware of the moment to moment when consciousness is changing the gear. If you are around, as I gave you the examples, and you are in a particular profession, whether you are a driver, you are aware. But that does not mean at that moment you go into meditation. This is practical application of the meditative state. You have to, in order to learn something, you have to go practically into something. You want to learn painting theoretically, can you learn? No. You have to go theory and practice both. I have told you, then you are going in that, the practical aspect of whatever is your field of interest and field of operation. Your field of interest is driving. Your field of interest may be something else. Your field of interest may be the work in the office. That is why it is said, when you are leaving the home, you turn your face towards the door, say your prayers, be aware, not mechanically say your prayers. Then you turn your back. So what you are doing, you are saying the prayer, facing your door, and after this is what you do, you lock the door. So you cannot lock the door with your back facing to the door. Your front face is facing towards the door, and you lock it. Then you turn, take a 180-degree turn. Now your back is facing the door, and your face is facing the direction that you have to go. So you have to send the energy to that place where you are going. And then when you reach there, you are facing there. So you are preparing the place where before you reach to your office, your work, your kitchen, or wherever it is. Now the same way you are returning. So you may not have to close the office, but you have to do not have to lock, but you have to, as you come out because of the air conditioning, you have to close the door. So you open the door. Do you close the door consciously or mechanically? So you are turning your face towards the direction of your house. You say your prayer, yes, I am coming. Let this house be filled with thy light. This place of my work be filled with thy light. But these prayers are not to be mechanically, but they have to be with total awareness. So I told you the difference between consciousness and awareness. Awareness is a state, consciousness is a process. You are in the neutral gear. It comes through every act. From sleep to waking, your consciousness changes various mechanisms. It jumps from one mechanism to another, step by step. Just as when you are going from the waking state to consciously created unconsciousness, you count 1, 2, 3. And if one can say 4, and the anesthetist observes the lingering sound of 4 or 3, so he knows that you are in that moment. At the same time, the monitors are placed on your body, the heartbeat, the pulse, so these are checked, and then whatever checks, as a medical profession you may know it, I am a layman. Only time I had been to the operation theater when I had the operation of hernia. So even though I went for that operation, I was aware of it. And then it is given, the anesthesia is given for a certain period of time so that takes care of the duration of the operation, and a certain time afterwards. Then slowly the effect of the anesthesia fades and you come back to your waking consciousness. So it goes through from one mechanism to another. Between the two mechanisms, there is no mechanism. Mechanism, the word is used in the gears, in the changing the gears. Between the two mechanisms, there is a gap. Between the two nodes, there is a gap. Through that gap, you can have the glimpse of your being. So meditation is not something that is to be done. It is something that you have to be aware when you are into your day-to-day activities. Your activities. Now, when I am sitting in my office in the business place, a customer comes to the door, he rings the bell. He have no patience. He keeps on ringing the bell continuously. But for me to get up from the chair, come out of the office and reach to the door, it takes a few seconds. No waiting. So sometimes I have to say that when you ring the bell, the sound of the first bell reaches my ears. You do not know what I am doing. Wait for a few minutes. It may be 50 seconds, 30 seconds. And if nobody comes in, then you ring the bell again. But you tell X, Y does the same thing. This is the nature of the human mind. I have remembered one of my friend, he has written on the door, please ring the bell once. You do not know what I am doing. Taking a shower, or in the restroom, or making love. So I can come only when, if I am taking in a shower, I cannot come to open the door in that position. If I am in the restroom, I cannot come out or shout from there somebody. But if there is no one else, if I am making love, I cannot come in that position. I have to be ready to come out to open the door. He has written this. Another person, the people do all kind of funny things. One person, we have the messages on the phone. when you call and the phone goes into the whatever mode is, when the person is not, it goes to the answering machine. He said you reached the right person but at the wrong time. It may sound rude, but it is very right. You reach the right person at the wrong time. So people use according to their own consciousness. So any act that you are doing, if you decide to feel those moments when one mechanism is changing to another, there is a gap. The emphasis is to fall between these two gaps between the two ends. Through that gap, you can have the glimpse of the being. Meditation is not a process, a ritual that you have to do. I meditate every day for 1 hour. I'll tell you, I don't meditate anymore. But if you are meditating and you are not yet aware of the gaps between the two layers of consciousness or between two mechanisms, you have not meditated as yet for me. The same happens in the night, the same happens in the day. When the dusk is not, that is moment known as dusk. The day has not come to an end. The night has not come fully. It is in between. And that moment is considered. That is why emphasis was given on Sandhya Kal. Sandhya means evening and Sandhya means prayer. Kal means time, the time of prayer. So people, the Hindus, they light their incense, they do their whatever rituals they may want to do, but it is more remains a ritualistic way rather than the way of the awakened ones. The way of, every act can be divided into that moment when you are prayerful. You are prayerful when that moment, the same consciousness from your consciousness to the unconsciousness, for a single moment there is no mechanism, no grip of the mechanism on you. Neither consciousness has gripped you nor unconsciousness. Neither waking nor sleeping has gripped you. Neither the spice blend is ready nor it is uncooked. It is in that precise moment when one moment it is not ready, next moment it is. How precise is that moment? Because you have to take a jump from one to another. Between the two, if you are awake, between the two, if you become aware, between the two, if you can remember yourself, you have the glimpse of your real being. That is what this particular sutra of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra for inner awakening says. At the point of sleep, when sleep has not come yet and external wakefulness vanishes, at this point being is revealed. Tantra does not say that you have to engage into act of sex. If that is the way that you have chosen, if that is the model you have chosen, you have to use this mechanism of being aware when consciousness changing the gears. it is not so easy. It requires a practice. That's why cooking is not an act of just you have taken a recipe from a recipe book or from internet and you can cook the dish. When a spice blend cooks to the precise texture, the quality of the food changes. If you are using for cooking mustard oil has a very strong flavor. So it has to be heated and allow the temperature reach to the point where there is a blue flame comes out of the oil. If you put before that, the strong fragrance of the oil will remain in the food, which you cannot tolerate. So in the same way, when Cantonese food is cooked, whatever oil is being used, allowed it to reach the smoke point. So the flavor of that smoke point comes in the food, Cantonese food. In Mandarin, the oil is added when the flame is about to be switched off. So that determines the nutritional value of the food. So all these things are precise. That's why cooking is a science and art. When you are going into the anesthesiology, you have to probably, as far as my guess is, you have to go through this theory and practical experiences when you have to give the anesthesia and feel when the person has the full effect of anesthesia. What is the duration of the operation? If the duration of the operation is 30 minutes, the anesthesia in proportion to that has to be given for a certain longer period of time. Not exactly at 30 minutes, but how long it has to be, there is a science behind it. So the people who are in the medical profession, they will know how much they are taught into that. When it is coming to the cooking, when we are self-taught, we may consider ourselves to be expert. But when you are in the company of a master chef, he makes you aware of every precise moment when it is ready, when it is not ready. My grandmother was not educated in the normal sense, but she was educated in abnormal sense. So she will allow me to sit down and help her in cooking, because she was an elderly lady and I was the younger one to do all the running, and that used to make me feel VIP, that I am working, I am very close to her and I am assisting her. And then when you are assisting someone, you consider yourself to be more important. That's what happens. So she will point out the texture of if you are making a batter, the texture of the batter, the consistency of the batter for making something that you are using, all that is very precise, is very important as far as cooking is concerned. As far as the medical profession is concerned, precise things are very necessary. Meditation requires precise moments when you can be totally precise. How to do it? While going to sleep. How to do it? Relax. Close your eyes. Make the room dark. Just close your eyes and start waiting for the sleep to come. So when you are going into anesthesia, your eyes are not kept open. Your eyes, whatever it is called, is covered. Your eyes are covered, so you cannot see that. If you are in the operation theater, out of anxiety, eyes will wobble all around and you will see. So I do not know, because I am not in that profession, but I know when you enter into the operation theater, you may not get much longer time to have a look at all the equipments and everything that may create chaos or fear in you. So you are blindfolded. And when you are blindfolded, then all the other process begins. So for the consciousness to change the gear from waking to sleep gear, let there be darkness. Eventually you get used to having the night light, either blue light or amber light is considered to be very pleasant to the human eyes and very relaxing. Blue light is very pleasant to the eyes and relaxing, but more than that, amber is more relaxing. So all the crystal salt lamps, they have the amber light. They are very relaxing. So I will go into this tomorrow, how to do it, how to move, what is the precise methodology so that you can move from one gear to the other, from one mechanism to the other, and how to be aware. But the gap is so small, so precise, that there is every possibility that you will miss it. Every possibility. So these are science as well as art both, and these are important. Now these things are not written, these are not part of scriptures. So people say that you should talk about Guru Nanak's Japji Sahib, or speak on the Sufi methodology, or Buddha's technique, or this or that, and so. This is the practical application of what you have learned. And if that does not come, then nothing can help you in anything. So this is the way that we have to make sure that you are given anything that you take, all roads, you are a driver. You realize that on a particular road, particular route, there is a traffic congestion. You immediately go to the travel app, Waze or Google. You find the alternate routes, and you use the alternate routes because all routes lead to the same destination. Maybe certain routes are longer, so Waze or these travel apps point out to you the shortest route. So Master is that travel app for inward journey that points out to you the shortest route, but you have to follow the routes precisely. Is it written in Holy Quran? Is it written in Vedas? Is it written in Dhampad? Is it written in Talmud? Is it written in any other scripture? No. Then how can he be a religious person? How can he be spiritual? He doesn't talk about those things. My method, the way of the awakened one, is not to talk about scriptures. What you have learned through those, how they can be applied practically to your day-to-day life, into what you are doing, what is your profession, how can you use those principles in your practical, in your life, in your way of living, or whatever you do on a day-to-day basis for your living. If that teachings are not translated into that, you do not learn the method, then how can you be meditative? This is the way of the awakened one. Maybe it may be necessary at times to quote the scriptures. Maybe it is not. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a particular sutra says, which is important, the verse number 66 of chapter 18, Sarva dharman paritijya mamekam sharanam vraj aham tum sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shucha. This is the last sutra that Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Sarva dharman paritijya, forgetting all the religions, not Hinduism, not Christianity, the religion of the body, mind and intellect. Body has its own religion, way of operating. Mind has its own, intellect has its own. Abandon all the religions of the body, rituals of the body, mind and intellect. Come to me and me alone. I shall liberate you from thy sins of the mortal being. The last sutra which the narrator says that the Yatra Shri Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijay. Where there is Krishna, who is Krishna? Is God. Is Hare Krishna says Krishna consciousness. No, Krishna is awakening. Krishna is wisdom. Krishna is preciseness. Krishna is awakening. And who is Arjuna? Partha is his name, Dhanurdhara. When you are shooting, the gun is in your hand. When you are using bow and arrow, the bow and arrow is in your hand. But where is your focus? On your target. Can your focus be diverted from target? Now you can say, I am a cook, how can I have the bow and arrow in my hand? Your cooking, whatever you are doing is your bow and arrow. And what is the target? A precise short target. Short target is having this spice blend of seasoning and spices to attain to the perfect texture before you add the other ingredients. Where there is a wisdom, Krishna, so you are Krishna's wisdom, you are Krishna's awakening, you are Krishna's understanding, you are Arjuna's preciseness, one who is getting into the act. Your focus is on that particular mechanism. There is bound to be success. There is bound to be victory. This does not mean that you take a Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is not Krishna consciousness. If you happen to take a tool of the operation tool in your hand, if you take the chef's knife in your hand, just as Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, you took a tool, can you attain to that state of awakening? Holding the tool of operation, can you become this surgeon? Can holding the chef's knife, you can become the master chef, or you know the art of cutting? Chefnat or any other the specific, or Julian's. You don't know Julian, you don't know, you somehow or the other, you hold the chef in your hand. I am a master chef because I know the chef. You don't know the nature of the chef, nature of this knife, what should it be, what it should be its shape, should be blunt or should be sharp, what should be the size of the blade. Is it not precise even in the operation theater? So you have, where there is a wisdom, can a person who is ignorant or a novice can use a master chef knife or the operation tools or the anesthesia? No, he cannot. He must have the wisdom of Krishna, the supreme wisdom, the wisdom which is beyond the known. You have known certain things. Experience comes when you enter into the dimension beyond the known. And then you become an expert. Still you are a student. Where there is a wisdom, there is understanding, there is awakening. That is Krishna. Krishna Krishna symbolizes the unknown wisdom, that you are in the unknown realm. Not a Hindu Krishna. Krishna is a state of awakening when you are beyond the worlds. You have wisdom, you have awakening, you have understanding, not knowledge. And you are at the same time the one who has a bow and arrow, the tool, and your focus is on the target. Can this principle not be applied in whatever, this mechanism not be applied in whatever is your field of operation? If that, then you are religious, beyond religions. You are not stuck into your Islamic religion or a Hindu religion or a Christianity or anything else. I teach you how to be religious, not a Hindu nor Muslim nor Christians. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.